no matter what job you're in, whether it's retail or whether it's insurance or whether it is, you got to have fun in your business. And when you quit having fun, it's time to get out.
Personally, I know that I appreciate reports, and it's shocking to me that not everybody comes to the trade shows with their reports because it's just so helpful.
I'd rather lose a sale or guide them to something else where I can, get them to something that looks better on them than have him walk out with something because he's advertising my shop too.
This episode of Main Street Matters is brought to you by Wood Underwear, Marchesi Ginfrati Neckwear, and Inspiro Tequila. I'm your host, Terresa Zimmerman.
Welcome to Main Street Matters. I am so pleased to be joined by Cindy Purnell, owner of Post and Rail Men's Shop in Ligonier, Pennsylvania. Cindy, welcome. Thanks for getting up this morning so early.
You're welcome, Teresa. I am an early riser and not normally getting up for like podcasts and whatever, but it's kind of exciting. And in fact, it's really exciting. I appreciate being asked. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I've known you forever. Our viewers and listeners do not. Maybe you can start just by telling us a little bit about Post and Rail Men's Shop.
Okay. Well, the Post and Rail Men's Shop basically started back in the late 50s, early 60s. And in November of 1974, my husband purchased the business. So you can do the math. That's 50 years. November 1st will be 50 years, which is kind of exciting. I've been involved since we got married for like 30 years. So we met in 1990, started dating, and then we got married in 1995. So I've been part of the business since then. The store is primarily it's a men's store. We carry classic traditional clothing like sport jackets. We carry sweaters. We carry sports shirts, dress shirts. It's a relatively more of a relaxed atmosphere in Ligonier. We don't have courthouses and stuff like that we cater to a lot of attorneys or whatever. So it's a little bit more casual. We carry Tommy Bahama. We carry Johnny O. We carry Wood Underwear. We carry we carry Viella, accessories. Pretty much we try to outfit the man in the way he would like to look.
Cindy, has the store always been more casual? Has that always been the case?
I believe it has been. Like I said, we're not really a suit oriented, or we do sell sport jackets. We have we have 3 or 4 nice country clubs around here where they require jackets, so they come to me for sport jackets if they need that. And so yeah, it's pretty laid back. It's a horsey town. We have fox hunting.
Oh wow!
It's really kind of neat. So in fact, funny story: the Post and Rail Men's Shop is the official name of the store, and I've gotten phone calls wanting to know whether or not I carry, cowboy boots or whether or not I have things for like post and rail fences because of the name. It just kind of fits in with, there's a lot of post and rail fences around here. So that's
hardware or Western wear. Right.
Exactly. So that's kind of like where, it came from.
Was the name of the shop Post and Rail before your husband picked it up? Did he change it to that or did he keep the name?
He basically kept that name. It started, the Post and Rail started as a lady. It was a husband and wife. She had obviously the ladies, and it was Post and Rail Inc. The husband decided one day that he wanted to open up a men's store, and then it became Post and Rail Men's Shop, the little offshoot. So yes, it's been Post and Rail Men's Shop for over 50 years. It's shortened to Post and Rail because it's just easier, and I don't have a problem with that. Because actually we do carry, in addition to the men's clothing, we do have a little bit of stuff for the ladies. We carry Vera Bradley. And we also carry, just recently we started with Brighton Jewelry. So it works out really well because some guy will come in, he'll want to be outfitting himself or whatever. And he'll look over and he'll say, "Oh my God, you've got Vera Bradley. My wife's birthday is tomorrow. I've got to get something." So it works out, kind of neat that way. So
That's almost opposite of, 90% of retail, which is mostly women's and they have just a tiny bit of men's for a gift, right? You're doing the
exactly,
opposite.
exactly, Teresa. It's so that's why I fill a little bit of a niche in the area. I try very hard. This is one thing that I really try very hard to do or not to do, I guess, is I like to stay in my own lane. If somebody comes to me and says, would you like to carry, Joseph Rubicon dresses or what? Nope, that's not me. Or the store down the street carries it. So I try very hard to do that. I try to stay true to myself.
And it sounds like true to Post and Rail. Maybe you can describe a little bit about what that means. What makes Post and Rail men's store different from maybe other men's stores, or maybe just even unique in Ligonier?
Well, it like I said, it's very traditional and classy. We still have men that want to wear and will only wear button-down shirts. We have a few spread collars. It's casual. I've tried other things. I've tried like going, or we both have, had tried before my husband passed away. We would try different things like contemporary items for the younger man or whatever, and it just doesn't work in our store. It would end up in the back room, in the clearance room, and you just have to say, okay, fine, this is where I'm going. I'm going to be, as I said, true to the Post and Rail. And people come in, and a lot of people will come in and they'll say, boy, you just don't see stores like this anymore, which really makes me feel good because I'm very particular on how I merchandise my clothing and how I buy.
Well, it's hard to not get distracted by, all the shiny lights, so to speak, out there because, there's so much stuff you could buy. And I'm sure you get advice all the time about, oh, you should carry this, you should carry that. And I know personally, I know I've done it. Everybody's coming at you, all the reps and everybody,
Yeah.
all the brands saying, we did great in your store. So, what helps you determine what actually would fit great or not? Because it sounds like you're open to experiment. So, when do you like reach out of your maybe normal you know, comfort zone
My
to
comfort
experiment a
zone.
little bit?
I think I need to start doing that a little bit more, Teresa. And I've questioned myself and in my buying, mainly because my customer base is an older clientele. It's it's probably 60. I don't have that 35 to 55 um, customer, and I better start getting that, or this store won't be around much longer because my customer base is dying off. Um, they're wonderful people, but at the same time, I do have to like upgrade a little bit, get that trimmer cut in that shirt. Um, so yes, I'm open, but I also want to be the Post and Rail.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yep,
I said it, Post
absolutely.
and Rail.
I know. Look, you shortened it yourself.
Yes.
Well, you've been part of the business, you said, for 30 years.
Mhm.
So, what were you doing before 30 years? How did you decide to become part of the business?
Well, I was working at Kaufman's, which was a major department store in downtown Pittsburgh, and I worked there for like, well, I when I left, had been there for like 25 years. Before that, I was at Joseph Horn Company. That's where when I left college, I went to Joseph Horn Company, which was downtown Pittsburgh as well. 4 years later, I walked up the street to Kaufman's, stayed there for 25 years. In the meantime, in 1990, I met David. As I said, we started dating and then we got married in 1995. And I was commuting back and forth, and the hour and a half commute back and forth got to be old real fast.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I can remember David said something to me about, he said, he was thinking about selling the shop, and I was thinking about leaving Kaufman's. And I said, you know what? We both can't be out of a job at the same time. So I won. I got to leave. We kept the shop, and I came here and I started with him. And um, I've kind of, in a way, Teresa, have had retail or yeah, retail in my blood, so to speak. My mother's father was a owned the restaurants, and he also owned a grocery store. And my father's father, interestingly enough, owned a men's clothing store called Homer's Clothing, which was my maiden name. So I've kind of had it in my blood. So, that was that. And when,
Destiny. Can't fight destiny.
no, it's just, and I interviewed with Procter and Gamble. I interviewed with airlines, to be an airline. This just kind of intrigued me. It's a very,
Yeah.
it's a, no 2 days are alike in retailing. No 2 days are alike.
Yeah. And since you have taken over the store, you said your husband passed away, and I knew that. How has the store changed? I'm sure you've put your own stamp on it. What have you done to? I mean, you've already been very clear you're trying to keep it post and rail, but I'm sure your own touch on it has made just even slight changes.
I think probably the biggest stamp that I put on this shop was when I first started with David in the store. He was not necessarily aggressive in his buying. Let's put it to you that way.
Okay.
He may have had, maybe 5 or 6 dress shirts. Um, we get customers, we get people to come in on the weekend, and they'll come in for a party or a wedding, and they forgot their dress shirt, and they come to us, and well, David will say, "I'm sorry, I don't have your size, but I can order it." Well, they're not ready to order. So I put dress shirts in and I put stock in. He would get merchandise in the fall, and it would be sweaters, and he would put them out. And I loved them to death, but he would have them put out and leave them in the plastic bags. I said, no, 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 no. Customers like to touch and feel.
Touch. Yeah.
Exactly. So I guess that is kind of my mind. I haven't really changed the content, so to speak. It's still just been casual, traditional, clothing.
Yeah. Tell us more about your customer. I mean, I know just from knowing you for a little bit that the town of Ligonier seems, I mean, for me, the stories, it seems like it's a tight community. Is your customer drawn from your community? Do you get those out of towners, tourists?
We definitely get an out of town base. We have people coming from New York, St. Louis, California, Texas. We do have, our local customers that come in as well, and that, um, patronize us, and they like to support the small stores. I could tell you some funny stories about some of the out of town guests because they don't come here that often. And I'll have a customer that would come in, and she would walk in the door, and she would visit Rolling Rock, and she would be here like once every 3 or 4 months, and she would walk in. And I pride myself in somewhat trying to know customers' names. I think it's very important to know their name, but God, you can't remember everybody. She would walk in the door,
Right.
and she would say hi, and I won't say her name. um, and she would just take it off the me off the hook because I would know her name. So they became friends of mine. And it's well, like I said, it's just we try to draw from, obviously the local people. In fact, I was sitting here waiting before we were going to start the session here, and people were out walking, walking their dogs and whatever, and it makes me feel good because a lot of them stopped and looked in the window. So yeah, so that's kind of where we are.
Yeah. And I know you're super involved in the community.
Yes, I am. To the point where sometimes, it's a little bit too, I've, pulled back a little bit, but my major love is the Ice Fest, which is in January. And, let's face it, people don't like cold. I love it when it's cold. I don't like this hot weather. So I've been the chairman of the Ice Fest for over, oh my gosh, it's probably going on 15, 16 years. And just has been growing and growing and growing. It's an event where people come in, and, in January, people are like, they got cabin fever. They need something to do. So this town is just crawling with people. So that's
That's
that.
great.
I am a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I will always be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I think that's very important. And I was not way back when, but maybe 10, 15 years ago, I was involved a lot. I was on the board. I was the president of the board. But I've pulled back. I mean, I'm not as young as I used to be. And, so you just have to learn to like pull back a little bit and start to
Oh,
take care of
yeah.
yourself.
Well, absolutely. You and I have tried to practice that little word with two letters, N-O, right? It's hard.
Exactly. Yes.
Hard to say that word.
Yes.
So you mentioned that the Chamber of Commerce has been important and you'll always be a member. What are you getting out of that? What's Post and Rail Men's Shop getting out of that?
Well, if somebody new comes into town, for example, a lot of times they'll go to the town hall, which is where the chamber is located, and they'll just, I need to know a little bit about the town. I need to know a dentist. I need to know a doctor. What kind of restaurants and stuff. And if you're a member, your name gets mentioned. If you're not a member, you don't get mentioned, and that's fair.
Okay.
I mean, we pay our dues to be promoted. That is, and
Mhm.
particularly in a small town, Teresa. I mean, let's face it, this town, the borough, which is where the shop is in the downtown area, is 1,700 people. Now, when you add the township in, it gets a little bit bigger. But
Yeah.
it's a small community, and it houses about 50 to 60 other small specialty shops. And
Oh,
sure,
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
there's
That's
ladies stores, there's jewelry stores, there's gift stores, there's dog stores, there's
right.
we don't carry you can pretty much get everything you want in Ligonier except for you can't get a freezer or a bed or
Right. Right.
furniture or something like that. So
That sounds like a pretty vibrant retail community for such a small population.
it it is. Yes, it is. And it
Yeah.
is.
And the town of Ligonier, you guys are all kind of centered, locally, so or centered centrally, so
That-
that you're all kind of walkable.
yes, it's we have the center of the town, which is called the Diamond, which is where our store is located. And then there's east, west, north, and south. East and west Main Street is where the majority of the other shops are. A few on South Market and a couple on North Market. So
Yeah,
it's definitely walkable. It is definitely a
yeah,
walkable town. Yep.
yeah. Well, I mean, that just tells me you get a lot of local support then if you're that small a town. So to sustain that kind of retail, that's fabulous. That's a big draw. So can we jump a little bit to how you do what you do? What do you use, technology or process, or how do you decide how to buy? Where do you want to start?
Okay. Well, it's interesting you say, how I do. I said, sometimes I think, I don't know. I really don't. Um,
Well, you do it.
yeah, I do it. And I love doing what I do. I use QuickBooks, Point of Sale, and I will say, probably don't have the most up to date version of Point of Sale, but it gives me what I need. And I utilize um, out of that program what I need. I can, in fact, when I go to my, buying show, which is one coming up in August, I go and I have my appointments, but I go with reports as to what I bought, what I sold, what I didn't sell. In fact, I have one vendor who always says to me before I walk into my appointment, and she'll say, "Okay, where's my report card?" And so everybody gets a report card. We did well with this, didn't do well with this. So it guides me into what I do for the next season. Now, sometimes you have to look at that and say, well, maybe we didn't sell it this year. Maybe it was a little bit too early. So you just want to, caution yourself and just saying, no, I'm not going to buy that. So I do use my reports a lot. I discuss a lot of business with a lot of times daily or every other day with my Vera Bradley rep. And she'll say, "Well, what did you have on hand?" Well, I can pull it up right there. What do I have on hand? What did I receive? Um, so it's guided by, I hate to say this, but technology, and it's also, got, when you go and you look at a line and it just somehow jumps out at you. And I know I've been doing this for a long time. I don't even want to think about it. I started in 68. So you can kind of do the math. It's been a long time since I've been in this type of business. And I have a tendency to like lean towards very similar things like tattersalls and
Okay.
sports shirts and checks. So I have to get myself out of that box and say, not everybody wants a check. Not everybody wants a tattersall.
But knowing that about yourself is important because at least you're conscious of it and you can act on that. I mean, personally, I know that I appreciate reports, and it's shocking to me that not everybody comes to the trade shows with their reports because it's just so helpful.
I also rely on you, the vendor. I am looking at a line and I'm going to say, okay, Joe, what have you done well with? Is this good? Should I be doing that? Well, I haven't been doing well with that. So they work with it every single day. I don't. I know what
Yeah.
I kind of think I like, but I am open to somebody that says, Cindy, I don't think you better buy that. It's not right for your store. And most of my vendors know my store. They've either been here or known me long enough. They know what kind of store it is. So
Yeah. And most of them know to be, just open about all of that.
exactly, exactly. I I love my vendors. My vendors are my friends. Um, and like I said, I just kind of, let them guide me along with what I think I want, you know.
Yeah. Good, 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 good. Well, so I'm going to bring you to Facebook because I know that you jumped on Facebook a few years ago to do in-store sales, like sales on Facebook. You were doing virtual, like, hey, I've got 3 of these. How did you decide to do that? And what did that do for you?
Well, it started basically in during COVID, and I think a lot of people bring up COVID and whatever, and I'm kind of tired of talking about it. But COVID taught us a lot. It really did. It brought us some good things and some other things, like for example, what we're doing right now. Pennsylvania or our area was shut down for 2 months. And I get a little emotional about some of these, but 2 months of not having your front door open is kind of hard. So I thought, okay, Cindy, what are you going to do? So I started videos, and it primarily was in the Vera Bradley line because that was easier to like cater to the women that like to shop. Men, they'll come in on a Friday because they need something that night. But I also did a few, what I want to say, out the back door sales. I would make arrangements. Somebody would call, I need such and such and such and such. I'd say, okay, fine, you can't come in the front door. Come to the back door. And, so I did business. I also got a lot of things done in this shop. I was painting and cleaning up and organizing and whatever for 2 months. But that was a tough period. But I proceeded with that afterwards. And the good thing about when you're doing a video or something is, um, my fellow employee was holding the camera, and I would go, "Okay, cut that out." In fact, one time I did it so many times I had about 6 what I call bloopers. I put it on Facebook. I got more hits on the bloopers than I did on the actual one. But yeah,
Bloopers are awesome. I love bloopers.
yep, yep. So that was kind of like how I got started, Teresa, in the Facebook.
And do you still do some Facebook sales, videos and
I
selling online?
I do. I haven't done it as much as I just haven't had the time. I'm also short of help. My
Yeah.
one employee retired in January, and like I said, we're a small store, so I don't have a major, employee base or whatever. In fact, right now, I am chief cook and bottle washer, with
Mhm.
all of it, and looking for somebody who wants to, work. Um,
Yeah. Staff is a huge issue for retail. hospitality too, but for sure for retail. And what are you doing to try to fix that for yourself?
Well, I've been kind of doing it like word of mouth, more or less, because I haven't gone to the Facebook ads or whatever and to try to do that. And I'm getting to the point now where things have not necessarily. I've got a couple people in mind that have come to me that say they want to help out for like a couple of days, and they're like friends slash, but I think they're sincere. And if I can get that, that's gonna help me a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's in it's in the upper guy's hands right now as to who he's going to send me.
Yeah. Has staffing always been an issue? Get hiring people, or do you think it's just a particular issue right now?
I think it's primarily right now, and I think it's been that way for the last probably 5 years or so. And I hate to say it, but since COVID, it's easy to sit in front of a desk, sit at your desk in your pajama bottoms and go to work. Um,
Yeah.
so it's been an issue. It has been an issue, and particularly I think in small stores.
Mhm.
I would imagine the department stores. Well, I shouldn't say that because the department stores don't have a lot of help either. I've
Yeah.
been, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's tough all around,
yes,
right?
yeah.
Um, some of what has been mentioned to me is people understanding a career trajectory, or what do they personally get out of being working in a small retail store. I mean, I love when I get to do events in stores, and I think I would love it every day. You clearly love it. So what is, maybe you can just talk a little bit about all the benefits that you feel from it.
There are a lot of benefits to owning your own business. There are also a lot of downsides to owning your own business because you pretty much, do it all. You do the buying, you do the selling, you pay the bills, you dust the racks, you sweep the floors,
Right.
you pretty much do all of that. And I have people that'll come in and they'll say, God, I'd love to own this store. Um, and then I'll be talking to them, and they're looking for a job or whatever. And I like a store
Yeah.
like this. This is great. So they come in and they start talking, and I give them a list about of the things that have to be done. Well, let me think about this or whatever, and they're not seeing after that.
Right.
They they
Right.
they don't. There's a lot more than opening up a store, thinking you can just open up a store and open the door and do a lot of business. There's a lot of work involved in
Yes.
it, and I don't
Yeah.
mind that. I've always been, I was growing up, I always had a good work ethic. My father was a dairy farmer, and we worked for everything that we got. Um,
Yep.
Nothing was
Well,
really.
and then from a staff perspective in the store, I mean, you have to love people. You have to love the merchandise that you're offering people.
Yes, a customer will come in and he'll be looking for like a sport jacket. So I help him with the sport jackets, and he'll try it on. I'll say, "Do you think you know what your size?" I have no clue. So I kind of take a look at him, and I said, "Well, you look like you're about a 42 rag, so let's try this on." He tries it on, and it doesn't look right on him. He thinks it looks good or whatever, and I'll say to him, "Jim, that does not look good on you, and I won't sell it to you." I just
Yeah.
won't sell something that I think doesn't look right on the customer, or the pants don't fit him, or the shirt is too big. I'd rather lose a sale or guide him to something else where I can, get him to something that looks better on him than
Yeah.
have him walk out with something because he's advertising my shop too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I know you love that interaction because I get calls from you when you have fun stories like
yes.
that. In fact, you called me recently when you had to tell a guy he wasn't an XL but a double X. That's a
I
little
know.
challenging.
I know. It's well, you know him well enough that you can yes, that you can talk to him honestly, and I have to do that, and they'll say, okay, I want a shirt. Okay, let's get a sweater to go with it, or let's get a tie to go with this shirt. And this is a sport jacket that I'm wearing. I love to wear, or I love to put neckties, neckwear match up a jacket with that. I have a lot of fun in doing that because a lot of people will just say, "Well, I think I need a solid." I was like, you need a little bit of a print or a little bit of a paisley or something to like, zap it up a little bit." So yes,
Yeah.
I do enjoy. I do. I interact with my customers in the men's side. I interact them with the Vera Bradley as well as the Brighton, because it's amazing what people don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but being able to be that close to your vendors, the stories of the clothing that you're selling,
Mhm.
and then being able to pair that with the your customers' stories that that's awesome. That's magic.
Well, yes, it is, and I hope the magic continues because like I said, in November 1st, we're going to be 50 years old, with David owning it. And I'm planning on a celebration and some fun stuff and some giveaways and things like that. But 50 years is a lot to be proud of. It really is.
Absolutely. And you're just getting started.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not ashamed to say this, but at 78 years old, I'm still somewhat going strong. And
Yeah.
I want this store to continue. I really do. And that is probably the challenge. I may be jumping ahead to a question or that you
Yeah,
may be
no, that's
asking
that's
me,
fair.
but
Yeah, no, we talked about succession. Succession's a big deal for so many stores across, all retail stores,
it is. And
independent.
this store, like I said, has been around for 50 years. It was before that. It was around before that as well. And it's kind of known to Ligonier and the type of store it is. And I don't want to see that go away. I really don't. Um, I'm don't have children, so I have nobody that is going to like carry it on for me.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that somebody maybe just may pick up the phone and call me or walk in the door and say, I'd really be interested in owning this store, and I hope that happens.
Yeah.
What I hope is if they do, and they like the store and they want to buy it, that they continue the tradition of the type of store it is. Now, I know we all have to change somewhat and we have to go a little bit more contemporary and whatever, but I don't want it to be, yeah, I want it to be the Post and Rail. I want it to be the Post and
Yeah,
Rail men's shop. Now, if that's
right.
going to happen, who knows? That's,
Well, it is one of the hard things when you sell, that you do lose the control of what happens to it after that, right? So, it's kind of like letting go of your baby. I mean, you've been involved for 30 years and it's, got the legacy before that. It is one of those big challenges for anybody selling any business. It's like, okay, I gotta hand off my baby and hope it's in the best hands.
and you just said a word that kind of, precedes me, I guess, and that's control. I am a somewhat of a controlling person in my business. I like the way certain um, pants are put on the shelf, or shirts, or how they're hung, or the tags. I don't like to see the tags hanging out. They're all tucked in the shirt or whatever. People will come in and say, "Well, this is not marked. How much is this?" I said, "Well, yes, it is." So I pull out the tag, and it just to me that's yeah, I'm somewhat of a control I'm somewhat of a control freak, and I'm actually
Mm,
very proud of that because I think maybe not control freak being proud of, but I'm proud of the fact that what I present to the customer is what I want them to see in this store.
yeah, yeah, that's clear. Yep. Well, on the succession, are you doing anything proactive about it, or you're just, it's just on your mind right now?
It's pretty much just on my mind.
Yeah.
That is a real hard question to answer, Teresa, because I just, I don't know what's going to happen, down the road. Yes, I have started, thinking about, what I am going to do because I got to start to slow down a little bit, but that's going to be very hard for me. Um, very hard.
My guess is slow down for you is everybody else's normal. Because I know all the things you're involved with.
Yes. I wouldn't know what to do if I would just, decide to sell the business or close the business, next week. what would I do? I'd have to go home and I'd have to clean the house, and I don't want to do that. Or I'd
Yeah,
have to go
right.
shopping and spend money that I don't have. Or so I keep myself busy, you know.
Or join another committee, right? Or join run another program.
I could find somebody something to volunteer for, and because I'm
Yeah,
sure that I would be that way. But right
yeah,
now, Teresa, this is what I like to do.
yeah.
This is
You
what I.
can tell.
Mhm.
It gives you joy.
Yes, it does.
What else are you kind of seeing in the future that you might think you need to prepare for today, and are you preparing for it?
Who knows what the future holds? It's we don't, but I don't like to think negative. I try not to think negative, but I think this coming fall, the next maybe 12 months, I think it's going to be a little bit tougher retail wise. I think we're all seeing that. People come and say, "How's your business?" Well, it's good. It's okay. It's not through the roof. I've had some fantastic seasons, fantastic days. I always said, some of the stores are closed on Mondays, and I'm not closed on. I'm open Monday through Saturday. Um, Sometimes, you just don't know who's going to walk in the door. Sometimes Mondays are my biggest day. It just depends on who walks in the door, but they're not necessarily walking in the door as much as they used to either. I think the economy is shown that people need to put food on the table, gas in their car, get to work before they put a new shirt in their closet or a new sweater or a new Vera Bradley handbag. Who knows? So to prepare for that is just being a little bit more. It puts the onus on me as far as being a little bit more open or conversational. I guess I'll say conversational with my vendors. I've got this coming in, Jim, and I don't know whether I really need it at this point. Can we, cut it back or whatever? So try to like nip it in the bud and don't get yourself so overloaded that you just can't see the forest for the trees, or you can't pay your bills. Fortunately, I've been able to pay all my bills, and I'm very fortunate in that, and I want to continue that.
Is there anything that we have not covered that you want to cover?
Um, I just think if people, no matter what job you're in, whether it's retail or whether it's insurance or whether it is, one of my bosses in Coffin said to me one time, he said, Cindy, you got to have fun in your business. And when you quit having fun, it's time to get out. But you know what, Teresa? I'm still having fun. So,
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
I'm not gonna get out for a while. May slow down. May use that word no every once in a while.
Wow, you actually said it.
I
You
did.
said that word.
I
Woo!
did.
All right, progress.
So
So
I
we're coming to a close, but I do have my one question that I ask everybody. Why does Main Street matter?
I thought about that question, and Main Street matters because of the personal service, the interaction with customers. I don't have self serve. I'm not going to be self serve. I need to help the customers, and um, I think that is truly, truly important. And I will repeat myself when I said earlier that we have people coming in here a lot that say you just don't see stores like this anymore, and I don't want to see that go away. I really don't. I just think it's important. I was, getting here this morning waiting for us to start, and my neighbor's store pulled up, and I said, "Oh, you're here early too?" And they said, "Yep." Just you just got to do what you got to do. But I know everybody in this town.
Yeah.
Um, I know, obviously a lot of the people that come in and stuff, but for somebody to come in and just say, wow, this store, I love your store. I love how you merchandise. That's a compliment to me. And, Main Street matters because I want more of me around. I want more stores like this that take care of the people out there that don't know what they want.
Yeah, that personalization and that relationship. I mean, plus Ligonier sounds like you've got such amazing community bonds.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate you being on.
Teresa, you are more than welcome. I've enjoyed it. And I just, I've enjoyed it. What can I say? Thank you.
Good, good. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Main Street Matters. Hope you found today's episode insightful and inspiring. I'd love it if you would share Main Street Matters with fellow retail owners or anyone else who loves Main Street. And please subscribe so you know when the next episode drops.